I can handle those pretty good right now. And these, for those that haven't noticed, this is one of the newer items that's available on the housing vendor, the Marauder net shelf. I imagine it'll be used for probably gates, be a nice little chain link fence kind of thing. Maybe someone put a few together and make it look like, you know, if they turned it, enlarged it pretty good and set it up on some grass, they could make like some soccer goals or something out of it. You know, it might not be very deep or anything, but still might, you know, get the idea, that kind of thing. But I definitely like the idea of it being like a luggage rack for the train. You know, a little loosey kind of mesh there so that, you know, even if it kind of bounces around, it's not going to go right onto somebody's head. But yes, those are the thoughts that go through my brain. Let's see. I'm going to start off with maybe having I'm thinking about what all I might want on these little walls up here. I have a guilty asking if I'm a morning person, and no, actually I'm not. But I'm thinking about, I don't want just all luggage racks, because I don't really ride public transportation much, but I know some of them like to either advertise or show like their route, or maybe some information about the vehicle itself. Maybe it's got exits for emergencies or whatever. And I imagine something like that being here, and just having the luggage racks on either side of it. So I'm deciding whether or not I want one on each end, or maybe two on each end, and leaving the gap for posters or something. So if I do two, that means I need 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 more. So what is that thing called? Shelf. Need 7 more of these. 1, 2, 7. I'm just gonna plop them out here, and that's like huge, isn't it? Well, let me just do one and then big. Something else I was noticing while I was standing here is this seat isn't quite in the middle of the glass. Now, is it the seats that should move or the glass? That's the big question, isn't it? I think I will move the glass. And my stomach feels like it's getting ready to really make a loud growl. Skipped breakfast this morning because I really still wasn't feeling 100% up to it. So, do I move this one in? I don't think I can on that end. I don't know, it's going to be tricky. Both of them are pretty close. I'm just kind of looking at where the frame lands in relation to the headrest there. Now, I realize that means that there's not going to be a framework here, like there is on this end. Is that going to bug me? I don't know. Could see about moving the couches, maybe. They're kind of overlapping anyway. Maybe that would be better. Decisions. But I really like having the framework here. I don't know why, but that's not super off. Maybe I should just not pick at it. Okay, so back to what we were working on was luggage racks. So I already have one kind of in place. We'll just copy, paste, be funky with the roof in now. And of course you can't hop in there now because it's like right on it. Now, do I want them gapped like that or do I want them overlapped? I think overlapped is better. I don't know why, but they kind of make it sort of like one piece. Okay, now that I have the two, then I'm thinking, okay, do I want that kind of centered over the end chair? And I think yes, I do. So I think those are linked already. So I'm going to link this one to the other two pieces, and I'm just gonna move it down. I think that one just tilted a little bit, but we'll check it in a bit. So I'm looking at this little centerpiece here, and I'm just kind of eyeballing where it might line up okay. So now I'm going to check again just to make sure everything's hunky-dory here. Not in the same amount. Maybe I want it out. I don't know. Tell me where it is. 73 is good. We'll unlink that one. Leave those linked and move that out. For whatever reason, it's not showing the same position. It's almost like it's a different size. Something's not the same. Same height. Looks. Maybe it's just me looking at it. Maybe it doesn't look the same because I got the box on the one and not the other. I don't know. Something seemed off. But anyway, that's I think that'll work. Yeah, see, it doesn't look the same, does it? I think when I moved it as a bunch, it kind of warped one. Weird. Is it the wrong size? Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's what it is. I knew there was something. Knew it. Let's that back in. I think it happened when I linked it together and moved it, and it just kind of went wonky. Now we move this one back. Okay, Yeah, that feels much better. I knew there was something weird, but I just didn't put my finger on it. I had to sit there and... So yeah, for whatever reason, there's a little quirkiness going on with when you move to link stuff. Now, typically, I adjust in some way to get that flashy effect to quit twinkling at me. When you've got something overlapping something else and it's the exact same thing, it can twitch and twitter and twinkle and flicker, I guess is the right term. Okay, so now we have the first set. Now we're going to put down a couple more sets. So plop these down here. Big O nets. This doesn't want to put another one down, does it? Because it's so huge. Okay. And if you notice, I made them essentially not quite the full width out as the seating, but that was, again, I was thinking of, I don't want a lot of collision going on so that people have trouble walking through the middle here. So always have that in mind when you're putting stuff together, especially narrow hallways. You know, maybe you want some pictures on the wall and you don't account for the thickness of the picture, adding to the collision and make it where the hall is impassable. Most people will notice that as they are decorating, and they'll see that they can't get through very well, but sometimes things like that can go unnoticed, and then when you have a guest come, they go, I can't get in here, or the door doesn't work, or whatever. So okay, we're going to try and do a copy, paste, and again, we're just going to be moving it off to the end because I want the center part for like some kind of advertisement panels or something. Again, I wish there was more protostar type of decor that had like those billboards that they have that are animated and talking and stuff. I wouldn't necessarily have to have mine talking, but I'd certainly love the billboards themselves to be able to use on my protostar related kind of themed plots. Those would be very, very welcome. Okay. Yeah, see, now that I got that one sized right, I can hop up on the couch just underneath, which is nice. It should mean that there won't be any problem for people sitting on these. The only trick is sometimes you go to sit on them and you sit backwards, which is a little... I'm kind of looking about where the end of it is, right above the armrests on both sides. So as I'm positioning these two, I want to make sure it's relatively the same. Not going to be exact, but I mean, I could make it exact, I guess, if I really wanted to nitpick at it, but it's pretty close. So we're good. Okay, now we need to do that on the other side. Again, with this type of structure, it's kind of mirrored when a lot of similarity between the two. Other things, that's not a, oops, not an issue, but for this particular build, definitely something you want to take into account. Let's see, I'm going to put them over here. We'll copy this last one. And then we'll rotate him around. and drop it in. Again, I just eyeballed that the main pipe isn't into the wall, but these are. So it's kind of like hooked into that. Others might want it, more of this snuck into it, but I'm okay with it being sort of out there. And it looks to be about where it needs to be, so we'll just copy this one now and slide it over. Again, you can see the strong flickering that is going on there. So you just kind of, I don't know, lift it up, move it to the side, however you want to do it, just to get it to quit flickering. I don't think that moved at all. That's because the less flickering your home has, the better. The more, I don't know, it just looks cleaner that way. Same way with if you have something butted up against a wall and maybe it's a thin wall, you always want to check what's on the other side because you don't want things poking out that people are like, what is that? Is that something? And then see that it's actually something that's sunken in through the other side and it just looks sloppy. So, yeah. Okay, gonna lay down 2 more of these nets. Yeah, with the proto games, little dungeon adventure thingy or whatever it is, with it having that little football sequence, I've been expecting somebody to put together some housing that's got either a soccer field or a baseball diamond or their own football and you just don't see those. I've been really surprised that we haven't had a lot more of those kind of themes being thrown together. Maybe it'll be something I have to do just to say it's been done. I don't know. Okay. Now what I'll probably do is check the position of this just to kind of make sure it's on there, but I could also probably get away with just eyeballing it to make sure it's above the armrest or whatever. Dang, now I forgot what number I was looking at. Over. Something like that. And then copy paste the final one. Trying to get a good view angle, whatever here. Again, I'm just adjusting it slightly to get that flickering to stop. So, it kind of puts it off a little bit, but I don't think it's so noticeable that people will freak out. Okay, so there's the luggage racks. Now I'm thinking, how do I want to do the little advert panels or whatever? Do I want like a series of different travel posters inside some kind of a framework? And if I'm using a framework, what is the frame going to be made of? So that's a good question. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's thank you. Was that? We'll just call you Bug. Thank you, Bug. I appreciate the compliment and appreciate the views. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take one poster And I'm going to flip it this way. And let's see, how big can I make that without it? It's not too bad. And then again, I'm just kind of eyeballing where it is in relation to the glass panels here, centering it a bit. I'm also checking where it is, well, kind of, where it is in relation to the wall here. And I can see that it's sticking out a little bit on the bottom, and it could be okay to snug it in right there. So here's my little panel, and now I can put several posters, maybe just 2, maybe 4. I don't know. We're going to have a look. So we're going to go to the travel posters section, and we're going to pick out some. I wish these can zoom in a little, see what's pictured on there. I'm going to go for ones I normally don't put up. Simple looks okay. One of those. Gotta have a proto one, at least. Purple's a nice color. I'm just getting like 4 or 5 of these kind of. And that one's okay. Now I could use just some regular portraits or some of the hanging wall, like the landscapes and stuff. But then you have to contend with the strings and nails that are used to hang those up. That might get in the way. So just going to keep it simple with the poster. Let's see. We'll start with Phineas. I don't know why he comes in sideways all the time. I think it's something to do with how I put it on this one. I'm not sure. Let's see. Do we want the purple with him? Now let's put the red one with that one. Okay, so we're going to bring these down. And then we're going to straighten it up a little bit. Then we're going to shrink it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and give it like it's sunk in, like it's like a little panel. And we're going to duplicate that, copy it. Duplicate would be a fun little thing. It's available on the housing vendor, then you can just duplicate and it just auto buys it for you. That would be handy. So maybe bump the size up just a little bit on both. And kind of sinking it in a little bit, not a whole lot. Just throwing this together. It's just an idea that I've had in my head, and just gonna give it a try. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You won't know really about this kind of stuff until you throw it together and see, okay, that works, that doesn't work, this looks stupid, this might work if I change it this way or that kind of thing. You just have to kind of play with it and see how it works. So kind of got those positioned, but then it looks like it's missing something. So maybe I go to some other kind of wall decoration. See if there's something else that would fit or work. I don't think anything in here really looks. I don't want portraits of people, and that's just more suited to. And I don't want any. I mean, I could throw in some neon, but I really would like to avoid that if I can for this particular thing. Do I have? Whoops. Do I have anything in mind? Or was I just looking at that? Okay, let me look at the housing video. No, no, no. Okay, let's see. Maybe I can put 3 on there. Maybe that will be enough. Of a, maybe it won't be too much of a tight fit on there. Let's go back to the travel posters. We already have red and green, so do that one. Or maybe these are like vacation place, something that ProtoStar is trying to get people to join in. Okay, and then I'm thinking, well, maybe I want the ProtoStar guy in the middle, and the other one on the end. That way, if I repeat it on the other side, and I have these two different, but leave the ProtoStar guy in the middle. So probably going to need to bring that up a little closer to the edge. What I'll do is I'll line this one up in the center like I want. And then I'll adjust the others to see that better. I'm mostly looking at the bottom edge here. I'll sink it in. Not too far. There. Maybe it's okay that they touch. Maybe that helps pull the illusion that that's like a one-piece item that's got these little adverts built into it. You know, maybe it's those ones. It is something I could change out every now and then. If I get sick of looking at one particular panel, then I can just change it out. And it's like the adverts change on a billboard. Those ones that flash and move. I think that one's still a little far in. Nope, that's just how it looks. Okay. So there's a little advert panel. It's just something, a little extra detail that, you know, you might not expect to see there, and others might expect it. And then if it's missing, then it feels empty. And, you know, maybe I change my mind later that I don't want, or maybe some new piece of decor comes out that would suit it better, and then I can change it up. But I think for that, that'll work for me. So we're going to duplicate that on the other side. All the pieces except the 2 end ones, we'll change what those are just to give it a little variety. But I'm going to make sure to have another Phineas up there. So we, at least, let's see, I'm checking what we have here. I want a Phineas, and then that one. So for the ones that I'll use on the panels will probably be the purple and the green, and then the Phineas. So we use the perfect stripe one as the base. So we'll throw that one down first. And then we'll copy the base. Move it over. Flip it. And again, I'm just kind of looking. I don't know if it's like completely flush or it's a little inset. It looks a little inset to me, so that's what I'm going to do with the other side. Looks good. So now we'll lay out the other three posters. Oops. Okay. Since Phineas is going to be in the middle again, and we're going to base the position of the others on that one, we'll copy him first, just to get him sorted. And we'll flip. And let's see. I don't think it matters too much which one is which. So we'll just copy, transform, move over, flip. A lot of housing is just repetition. You copy, paste, you move, you flip. You copy, paste, you move, you flip. And some people find that, oops, fun. I don't know if I necessarily find it fun, but it's my kind of pace of a game. While I do like the daily quests and world events and raiding and dungeoning and adventuring and stuff, a lot of that gets you kind of hyped up and frustrated at some points and all that kind of, and housing is kind of a calming gameplay. So for me, I don't mind the repetition. For me, I really don't even typically notice the repetition. It's a means to an end. I'm creating something, so I don't mind. I mean, for most all intents and purposes, it's a time saver to be able to do the copy paste rather than figure out all the little bits every single time. Okay, so now we have our double advert panel thingies, whatever those are. Got the luggage racks in place. I will probably add little details of different kinds of luggage. Maybe, for instance, one of those rolled sleeping bags. You know, those don't always have to be just for the bathroom cabinet. You know, maybe someone's going hiking and they have a really big sleeping bag that they want to take with them, or pretend it's a duffel bag, or you know, whatever. So it doesn't have to always just represent a towel on a rack. It can be kind of travel bag, travel pouch. And here I'm just checking. You can see there's quite a bit showing through there, so I'm just kind of tucking it just enough where it might be poking through in bits in there, but the majority of it is up above, so it's not like it's been sliced up by the mesh. And you know, maybe that's a Granox sleeping bag. They always have huge stuff. I'm not going to put like plants or anything up there. I think that would look a little weird. But you know, we've got plenty of crates and boxes that could fit. Another good one is, let's see, I don't know if I got one of those, another backpack, no, but the blue backpacks that we have, that'll be another good item, so I'll probably have to get a hold of one of those. I've already used one up above in the golf park area, but wouldn't hurt to have another one down here. Maybe not even on the thing, maybe someone left it on their seat or tucked in between the seat or something. You never know. But let's see, what other stuff could go up here? A couple of barrels, like the silver kegs, those could be used. But typically, like boxes and containers of some sort would be the most recognizable as some kind of traveling luggage. Speaking of luggage, I had mentioned to a viewer, I guess it was yesterday, no, the day before, since I didn't air it today, about making a luggage trolley of some sort. So what I may do is add some kind of ramping here for, working purposes if, you don't want to take a trolley up the stairs. But for the time being, I think I will just see about plopping one down here. What to use for it, though, I'm not sure. Probably some shelves as the base of it. See what kind do I have on hand here. The Marauder grading is always fun. So I'm thinking, like a trolley, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a shelf one. It'd be more like a panel on the bottom, I guess. So maybe a floor piece, or maybe even a wall. Could work. Not the curved one. No, maybe. Let's try it to a wall, maybe. I think it's enough of a contrast to the rest of the metal looking around here that it'll be okay. Now, again, this is supposed to be a public thing, so while I'm going to be kind of using my Orin as like a sizer kind of thing, I'm still going to probably go bigger than what I would normally use if I'm just building for her exclusively. So a lot of things like the countertops will seem rather large for her because it's like right up at her face. But that's because I'm not just building for Orin size. It's supposed to be accessible to everybody. And I don't know, it seems fitting that there'll be one race that's kind of feels a little, not excluded, but at a disadvantage, and I'm okay that it's mine. Let's see, so let's square this up a bit just to make it easier to work with rather than add a slant. Later I can link everything up and twist it a little bit if I want. So while it would be nifty to come up with some kind of a hover effect, I think that might be more trouble than it's worth. So I'm going to go with the traditional like wheelie gig. So we're gonna grab some tires. And I could get fancy and say, well, this one has to have 6 tires, 3 on each side. No, we're just gonna go with the traditional 4. Now, there's times and places to get really fancy with this stuff, and others not need. Not unless you just have the decor count to spend. And at the moment, I'm kind of stick S if there's a whole lot of stuff to make a brewery and a bar or something like that. Well, there's actually a section in the housing that is called cookware and barware. So there is quite a bit. It really depends on the style of bar that you're thinking of. If you're looking for more kind of the traditional look, we have a lot of bars, both full and empty. This one's empty, so you can fill it yourself with whatever kind of drinks or beverages or whatever else you can think of. And then they come stocked as well to kind of avoid, alleviate the pressure of trying to fill in every little shelf. There's several types of bottle type items and cups and glasses, some filled, some not. So you can get fancy from like wine glasses, or we've got like beer mugs. But it's like there's only one type of beer mug. So it's not like you've got like different styles of steins or things like that. So if you want to have that kind of variety, you would have to kind of make it up yourself, make bigger ones and add a funny looking handle on it that looks different than the original. But they've also got for breweries, you probably want a lot of barrels. That becomes a little trickier. In a previous build that I did. I wanted a lot of barrel type structures, and what I ended up doing was using the let's see if I have one on hand here that I can show you. I think it was the round feeding trough. I used this item. It's actually just a trough. It's hollow in the inside, but I put 2 of them together to make kind of like a barrel, because the one barrels that we do have that actually is called a barrel, it's half and half. It's half wood, half metal. So again, depending on the kind of theme that you're going for, if you're going, the bar I had was all low tech. There wasn't really a lot of metal. I wanted it all to be wooden barrels. So like for the area above my bar, I put these metal ones, but I sunk them in so that you only saw the wood part, for instance. Or I did a lot of the combining of the troughs to make barrels. There's also there's some kind of a pillar that let's see. There's another item that it's a barrel, but it's got like swords and things sticking out of it, like hatchets and things. So again, if you're wanting just a clean, plain barrel, that'll be tricky to come by, because we just don't have that kind of. We have like the silver kegs. I don't happen to have one on hand, but not a lot of like low tech, like for an actual like hoodlum bar or whatever. But like I said, it really depends on what kind of, because we have the actual bars. They have a Dominion one that's kind of like gold, and then you have the wooden ones. But that doesn't mean you have to only use those. Just fashion your own. Come up with some other piece that maybe you like the look of the shelves or something, like for instance the exile shelves, you could find a way to make your bar out of something like that, or have a bar of just these, just, and maybe you want a curved bar. Most of our bars, I think, are like squared off. Um, I think the Dominion version might be round, um, but again, maybe you don't like the colors of the gold and the little emblems on it. So you just make your own. You could use one of these arches maybe as a little rounded bar type thing, where the little bartender's in here and then all of his patrons on the edges. It just depends on how you want to build it. But there are a lot of ready-made items that you can utilize. We got plenty of vials and bottles and beer cans. There's a pile of beer cans if you want to go that route. Um, uh, yeah, for Granok, they've got a lot of stone decor that you could incorporate if you want yours to be kind of like a Granok-y place. There's benches and actual Granok chairs. It's just a square little piece of rock that you can actually sit on. Your character will go to it and he's right on it. But and then if you're looking for something pretty rugged and like thrown together like a trashy bar, then you could have little bits like this, like tires and junk on the floor and papers and stuff. I've used I think it's the eye splotch. Yeah, the strain eye splotch. It's actually a solid kind of purple on the back when you flip it over. So I've used it to represent like spilled liquor on the countertop, or you could do it on the floor. Or maybe you've got a really rugged bathroom and there's splatters on the wall or something. I don't know, but it only comes in purple, of course. But you could probably fashion other kind of stains and stuff from other items. But this one looks like a nice little splat. So just different ideas. So yeah, there's a lot of ready-made stuff that'll get you started or give you ideas about, but then as you get into it and you go, well, I really don't want it this way, then you learn, by experimenting on how to build it yourself the way you want it. It's like there's actually a beer tap decor item that comes with lots of piping and stuff, and at the end of 3 of the pipes there's like the little nozzle things that you would pour your beer out with. And those are nice, but the item itself is kind of awkward for certain situations. So like for my bar, I made my own taps using hammers and other things. So yeah, it really comes down to what you want, the theme you're going for, what pieces you have available. Maybe some pieces that you want to use just aren't that easy to come by. Maybe they come from a dungeon drop and you've gone to the dungeon hundreds of times and still haven't gotten it. And it's, bind on pickup, so you can't buy it. You have to get it from the drop. And those kind of things can inhibit just how far you take certain ideas. But I'm just kind of fiddling here. Well, it's fun to get lost in housing, though. Some people talk about it as if it's a bad thing, but I think it's fun. I certainly love the challenge of coming up with stuff, especially stuff I don't see other people doing very much. It's not like I thrive on it, or always purposefully do it. I mean, I've done other things that other people. I've done bars and just general residence houses, just like everybody else. But a lot of times I like to go for the different, just to be different and just to see if it's possible to do what I think. I don't know if this is really what a trolley looks like. I'm just winging it here. I know there's like a flat little thingy and then the wheels involved somewhere. See, that's going to be weird because this particular piece here is not very perfectly flat, so it looks odd, doesn't it? I don't know if that's just because of the copy paste offsetting it a bit or what, but looks like it's got a flat tire. Just kind of bumping it up so it looks fine. See that one, and they even look turned funny, don't they? Probably because they are. Let me just fix that up here. Try that again. I'm just making sure the tire's not like stuck into the, okay, that worked a little better. Into the trolley bit thingy there. You know, maybe I have to lift this up to be just above the wheels. Maybe the wheels are underneath. That work better? Yeah, because this kind of looks like a little weird car or something. Let me lift that up. And tuck the wheels in. Yeah, that looks better. Like a little wagon, but without the sides. I've made a wagon before. I made a little red wagon for my winter themed home. It was a toy shop. So I had to have a little red wagon. Okay. Now we'll just copy. Something like that. Kind of just under the front end there. Again, I'm just winging this. It was an idea that, you know, I thought of while I was streaming the other day. And so I really haven't taken it into consideration just what all I might need to put it together, if it's even going to work. But we're going to give it a try. Okay, so usually they have what, like some bars up above here. So maybe we can use the wires. That hanging wire. Maybe it's not called a wire. Hanging cable. Maybe as the top, the handle. I think it'll look weird if I just use it as the whole thing. And probably too small. But if I make it the handle, that might work maybe. Maybe that's not. Let's try something else. Maybe I have to go to my familiar pillars. I like the Cassian pillars. I mean, for this theme, for the proto place, I just want to be. I don't really want to have a lot of wood. If I can help it. Been avoiding it where I can. My stairs are wood at the moment, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up changing those up to something else, either just the ramps or some other thing. really hunky. Want it right on there or better on that? I think this would be better. Like so. Hard to tell if there's a gap there. I think it is still kind of floating up. Probably isn't, but it looks it, so it's hard to tell. Like that, and then copy. And by the way, Stick, if you do put your brewery together that you're talking about, be sure and post it in the forums, because you know, for those of us that can't get on NA, that would be fun to look at, even if it's just screenshots. You know, a lot of people are reluctant to post about their homes because either they don't know how to put up a video or make one, or sometimes even they're not sure about how to link a picture. Just, you don't have to embed it, just put the links in and we'll go hunt it up. But it's exciting to see other people's builds. Not only to admire the work, but you know, to get ideas for our own stuff. And what better way to do that than by looking at others? You would like to, I don't know what the word is. Whoops. Oh, can't type worth the flip. 3 maybe. Long maybe. Wow, that's like really huge for her. That's a really big trolley thing. But like I said, you know, this isn't just for Oren. It's, you know, like a little kid pushing her little cart thing. I could probably reduce it down a little bit, but I'm gonna leave it. You could just get some Granoff to move it for her. So to kind of indicate a little better, I'll probably put a couple of pieces of luggage on top, just to, like someone's, you know, ready to board the train, but they got all their luggage crap on there. But since I like, there's some things that you want to leave, you know, perfectly angled, like a building or something. But when it's an item like this, I like to offset it, you know, to turn it a little bit. It doesn't look super perfect. Well, that's good. Stick says they're gonna definitely post a video. Yeah, that's part of the fun of housing too. I know a lot of people that start out, they get to like level 14. Like my husband, he tried the game for a little bit. He got to 14, got his house, and like bought 2 things, and he was out of money. He's like, "Well, what's the fun in that?" It's like, "Well, you gotta remember, housing's a long-term project. It's not an overnight thing. So there's a lot of gathering the materials you need, saving up the money to buy other materials you need, getting to the right levels to use some of the items, like the bunker house. It's not only, I think, level uh, uh, required, but also the amount of money you spend. I think it's like 3 plat just to get the bunker house. So once you get it, then you don't want to let it go because you don't want to pay the 3 plat again. But you know, I think some people forget that it's not like another goal. Like if you have a goal of um, getting like a particular gear piece from a dungeon drop or something. Once you get it, then it's done. It's, you know, then you can move on to something else. With housing, there's always new items coming out, and you see them and you go, ooh, I think I could use that for something, and then you want to switch it. And then, like for me, I like to change my themes up every few months. Um, so like I'll work on a theme, I'll get it all sorted pretty much like I want, and then I'll stop building for a little bit, and then I'll kind of get bored of it. I'm I'm like a gypsy houser. I want to see something else or try something new, so I end up just ditching the whole thing and just starting over. Some people relieve that by just getting alts and building on their alts homes, but I tend to focus just on the one character because she's the one that's the right level. She has the most money. She has all the rep on most of the factions, so she has access to most of the decor that is out there. So I keep my builds on her plot only, and so yeah, I just end up having to go bye bye to that. And usually when I pull the plug on it, everybody else is going, "Oh, I can't believe you're creating it all. It's just so sad." It's like, well, it's sad, but it's also exciting because I know a new thing is coming. Uh, I think I've created all probably about 4 or 5 times on this plot now. So it's nothing new. It's a little. I make sure to take plenty of screenshots. I make videos out the kazoo. Um, so I've got my keepsakes, and then I move on to something else. Okay, so that's the trolley. So what I'm going to do to get it to turn like I want, I'm going to link it all up, and hopefully nothing goes wonky when I do it. Um, I've had things in the past where I'll link it up and I'll go to move it and half of it disappears. So we're gonna cross our fingers that that does not occur today. That would really be annoying. Okay, so I think I got all the pieces. Just make sure everything, oh, see, I missed. You can tell everything kind of blinks purple except for the item that is your parent. But this one isn't blinking, so I can see that he's not linked up with the rest. So do that real quick. Okay, so now I think I have it all. Yeah. So I'm just going to tentatively. Oh, did you see what happened there? Can you tell? Yeah. It resized the side pillars. What causes that? Why it does that? I'm not sure. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to try moving it. Currently have it object identified. I'm going to try moving it in the world and see if it has the same effect. Sometimes if you change the type of positioning that you're going to be adjusting, it affects whether or not it wigs out like that. Other times it doesn't. We'll see. No, see, it didn't matter. Both versions, it still enlarged the side pillars for whatever reason. I'm not sure why that is. To me, that's not a big deal because it's easily fixable. I can just shrink them back down. But in other cases, it can really throw the whole thing off and just make you feel like you've like wasted a bunch of time, especially if you're too quick to like maybe you click off of it and it places it like that and you didn't want it to leave it. Always be careful when you're moving something in this way, um, because you want to be able to hit that cancel. Now, I have been in situations where, like, for instance, the time that I moved, like, I had a whole section of cabinetry that I wanted to move, and I had, like, all the walls and the shelves and the countertop and everything, and it all selected. It was like, I don't know, 20, 30 pieces. Went to move it just a little bit down the way, and half of it went, whoop, disappeared. And really, it didn't disappear. It moved it, like, onto the other side of the plot. It was all pretty much still together, but it separated it in half. And then I had kind of, I guess, clicked off of it and it saved that way. So I ended up having to go hunt down the other half and move it manually back to, because every time I would try to move those link pieces, it would just split it even more and more. And it was just really weird how it behaved. So we're going to leave it like that. And then we're going to unlink the two pillars. And I'm going to relink them together. And we're going to see if we can just, I just kind of wigged out the positioning even. So I'll just unlink those again. And it even kind of, yeah, it distorted this one too. It made it too big. It's just weird how it works sometimes. And you got to be really careful. It would be nice. I know there's some in the forums that have been asking for like an undo feature, which I think would be really helpful. So that if in the event you accidentally click off of it or just for whatever reason move it into an unintended place or that's a saved sizing or something, you can have a certain number of undos. Even one would be great right now, but if you had like up to 3, maybe 5 or so, just to kind of back up to what you had previously done, I think that would be another quality of life kind of thing that people would appreciate. Let's see if I can get sizing back to the way I wanted. Don't remember what I had. Maybe it was that. I think that might have been the size. I'm trying to see about positioning here. I think it might be back to the way it was now. Okay, so now we have our little trolley, our luggage cart, or whatever you want to call it. Just a simple, nothing super fancy. I didn't have to go out and go to a rep vendor for it, or didn't have to go craft anything. It was just some readily handy pieces from the housing vendor or whatever I happen to have on hand. I love building that way because there are some details that I'd like to go and get. Like I went and got some of those display panels. Yeah, the Deluxe Viz Display 2000. I've been using these as like the registers for like the food court upstairs and the souvenir shop. And for the, well, I could put them in the ticket booth as well. But I have been getting quite a few of these because I want to put them here at the ticket booths down here and probably upstairs here where the diner's going to be. Just to kind of get it all uniform. They're all using the same kind of little cash register system. Rather than having to think up a new way of doing the registers and not everything, just use the same little formula everywhere. But these particular ones, if I remember correctly, come from Grimvault, the rep vendor there. I want to say it's like not the top. You don't have to be beloved with them, but like a level or two just under that. So for those particular pieces, yeah, I'm going to go out of my way to get a hold of them because I've used one and I liked how it worked, and so I've made sure to go and get myself a few extra on hand because I know I'm going to be using them elsewhere. But for something like this, when I'm just kind of throwing it out as an idea, I'm going to first start with the cheapest materials I can get a hold of, the cheapest and the most readily available, and that's always for me the housing vendor, or my own crate if I happen to have extra pieces lying around. But then if I later decide, well, I want one of those, I don't know, the Marauder hovering landing pad thing for it, so it looks like it's floating rather than on wheels, then I would have to go in and find that. But for this, I think that works. Enough of a contrast, like I said, it doesn't blend in with this, but it also kind of follows the theme of the metal look, which I like. I could ride on it, have my carrot push me. Whee! But anywho, so yeah, making progress, slowly but surely coming together nicely. I'm still fretting over how I'm going to fix the stairs here. I may end up adjusting this whole area just to sort out how I'm going to fix that. I may end up bringing this in a little bit, this edge here, so that I can move these stairs a bit away from the wall to add another step panel here. But I don't know. As well, I've been considering the entrances built to be like an elevator. So when you go down, you're suddenly in this open space. I'm also considering building in the kind of duplicating the elevator feel down below as well, so that you're walking out of the elevator and then into this little hallway here. But that's going to take some finagling and figuring out, because every time you zone in, you're always in the same position. So I'll have to make sure that the door to the elevator is, of course, here, and I'll want to mirror the look as best I can for like size and everything, and the panels and stuff as close to it as I can get. It doesn't feel too much of a clash. I'm gonna have to rework these a bit. I think I've made some modification to this building, and I haven't actually really looked inside my elevator lately, but I can see that I'm going to have to do some cleanup work here. Just when you think you're done with the section, you find something else that kind of looks a little off, and I don't think I can get away with moving this out because it's already kind of sticking there. So I'll probably have to get some smaller Oren walls and cover that up on the here of. And just like, I think the roofing inside here, yeah, the wall doesn't go all the way up. So technically it's like there's access to an inner room here, but I really don't want no access there. So I'll probably just finish it off, add another wall in to make the thing up. Do I do a lot with vanity pets? No, seriously, I don't. The main one I wanted is obviously the carrot pet. And I jokingly said that once I got him, I wouldn't let him leave my side, so I just leave him out. He doesn't really get in the way as far as like when you're fighting, you don't accidentally select him or anything. I mean, you can select him, but I haven't had any problems with that. I know in some games when they have vanity pets, it can be a trouble, especially like if you go into a group activity like a dungeon or something. You might want to, out of courtesy, hide them a bit so that they're not a bunch of them running around. But as far as doing anything with it, no, it just follows me around and looks cute. And don't worry about changing subjects. You know, while my broadcast is mostly about housing, that doesn't mean it has to be specifically restricted to that. If people just want to ask about the game in general, they want to ask about me in general, that's fine. Any kind of interaction is good. Of course, you know, if it's a troll type question, I will probably ignore it. But generally speaking, anything is go. Well, congrats. He got his first pet gold claw. I'm not sure I have that one. I've collected a few. Let's see. The latest one I got today is this one. How disgusting does that look? You could probably ride, or I could probably ride that and just bounce around. It's called the Dark Feeder Hookfoot. I happened to get that from the contracts, the tier 5 reward, I think, is where I got him. So yeah, that's a really, ew, it's got like tendons on it. It's nasty looking. Yep, I got the gold claw. I haven't even really looked at all of these up close. I'm not even sure where he come from. He's pretty badass looking though. He looks like if they did pet battles like they do in WoW, this thing would probably kick some butt. He looks nicely protected with his carapace or whatever. But I've gotten a hold of a few. Most of them are from vendors that you could just readily buy. I think he's taller than I am. I'm not sure. Pretty evil looking too. This one's cute. Kind of mesmerizing watching it. And from what I understand, a lot of these make noises and stuff, but I have my sound turned down most of the time because I'm upstairs and my mainline phone is downstairs. So I keep my sound low so that I can hear the phone if it rings. Doesn't always work. Sometimes I miss it, but I generally try to keep my ear open. So I miss out on some of the little, I guess, noises that they make. According to some, the radish sproutling, I think it is, or maybe it's the celery that I don't have yet, constantly chatters in some kind of little veggie gibberish. And oh, and the cutie's looking around. He looks so bored. Like, yeah, I'm in a game. What about it? But I don't notice those. So I know there's some people that specifically look for the noisiest ones so that they can annoy anybody that they happen to be around. But he looks scared. Like I'm all squishy and I'm in danger or something. I don't know. He looks like he's on drugs. He's spaced out. He shouldn't have weapons. He's incapacitated with something. But yeah, the pets are just kind of a diversion, I think. An extra thing that people can collect because you have your collectors that just love to accumulate stuff, whether it be achievement points, titles, mounts, whatever. And it was just a matter of time before they added vanity pets. I hope they don't. There's been some that's suggested maybe they make them have some kind of a benefit, like maybe not necessarily combat uh, beneficial, but like maybe the carrot. If you go scavenging for herbs or something, then you get extras because you have him out. Stuff like that. I hope they don't do that. I would prefer it just to be strictly cosmetic um, in use. Just pretty stuff that you can collect, and if you want to, it's not a requirement. You don't feel like you have to get a certain pet because it gives a certain buff or something like that. Um, but for my namesake, I really wanted the carrot one. So I'm glad they finally uh, verified where to get that. Took me all day with some guildmates. They were very helpful and grouped up with me. I think we did like 3 or 4 sessions of just constantly going to the melting pot over and over and over and over again. And finally got it. So I was happy. I can die a happy Orin now. I've got my carrot. But again, I'm going to have to name him. I'm going to have to call him something and refer to him every now and then. I don't know what. Dix or Crunchy, or maybe call him something odd like steak and carrot. I don't know. But yeah, definitely. I do the pet battles in WoW, and one, I find them extremely boring. I don't know how other people do it nonstop, but I find it incredibly boring. It's almost as bad as fishing for me. It's just, you do it because you might get other pets or you might get more achievements and stuff like that, but oh, it's like I can only do like 1 or 2 at a time, and it's like I don't want no more. It's like dailies. I do dailies to a certain extent, and then you just gotta give it a rest because it gets too monotonous. At least with housing, there's always something different to fiddle with. Um, but yeah, I hope they don't go into the pet battles and stuff. Um, but there's always that possibility. I didn't think it would be done with WoW's pets, but they eventually succumbed to the request. And there's already been a few people in WildStar calling for it, but I'm thinking that if it happens, it'll be pretty long down the road because there's so many other things they need to be working on as far as that goes before they really uh, go any further on that. I almost think that needs to be sized up a little bit more, but I think I evened it up to the size of the door is what it was. Anywho, so yeah, back to the elevator. I'm gonna have to piece by piece work it in so that it's the same looking. I want that illusion that they actually rode down the elevator kind of look. Uh, Probably going to be tricky to pull off, but I'm going to try it and see how that works. So that'll probably be one project, little mini project within the project. And of course, I've got the diner I still want to work on. I'm pretty happy where the train itself is. I still have the cockpit to work in, and other little details, but the details will come later. Mostly I'm getting a lot of the base stuff. I started with the main structure of the building. Now I'm kind of laying out the foundation for other things. I'm going to be putting in the maintenance area down here, then the control station up above. Going to lay out how I want the diner to be, maybe the kitchen area here, and maybe some fake doors, again, like I did with the food stall upstairs, just kind of imply that there's a kitchen somewhere, and then just keep the foodstuffs at the front and not worry about a lot of stovetops and things like that. But we'll see how that goes. And of course, got a lot of stuff down here to do. There's the ticket booths. I'm wanting to install some telephones here and some storage lockers here in the back for those that are commuting but they don't want to take all of their junk with them to and fro, stuff like that. And of course, this is my beginnings of some kind of an ATM machine. Other little details that I'll want to throw in is like trash cans for waste. I still got to do that upstairs as well. I've got that on my to-do list, but it's kind of I get distracted with this or that, and I think, oh, I want to do the trolley today, and so now we have a trolley, and so I don't have that excuse anymore. So I'll think of something else to distract me. But I think we're going to call it good for now. My stomach is starting to feed on itself because I'm getting hungry. Like I said, I skipped breakfast, and lunch is right around the corner, so I think I'm going to head off and grab a bite to eat. I thank you for those that have dropped in and had a chat. I appreciate the questions and the interaction. It's always good to have. Um, for those that are watching this as a past broadcast, remember every Wednesday I broadcast at 1 p.m. CET time. But on other weekdays, the time varies. Sometimes it's earlier in the morning, sometimes it's later in the afternoon, evening. Um, it just happens to be whenever I'm in the mood to stream, and the content isn't always necessarily housing, but I generally try to stick with that because I know that's what kind of helps me to stand out a little from the other streamers. But um, if you want to know when I'm going on to another live broadcast, following my channel is probably the best way to do that. Um, other than the Wednesday for sure things. And thank you, Stick. You too. I hope you have a good day, and good luck with the brewery. I hope it turns out really well. I look forward to seeing it on the forums. Even if I don't get to visit it in person, I hope to see a nice little video and some screenshots, and love to hear about how long it took you and stuff like that, because it's just little things like that that helps others be assured that anybody can get in it. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have it overnight. It's something that you work on over time. But until the next time, thank you guys, and uh, hope you have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow probably. Bye.